Hi guys! Welcome to my review of Once Upon a Time episode 602, Bitter Draught, or A Bitter Draught. Very weirdly for me, I usually ramble on for hours and hours, but this is going to be a quick review for two reasons. One, the lighting is not my friend. I've just got home from work and it's not looking too promising. And two, as pointless as it is me telling you this because you don't need to know, there's something in my eye and I don't know what it is. I think it's probably just a bit of mascara or a bit of hair, but I have been trying for the past 10 minutes to get it out and I can't source what the thing is, but it's driving me insane. So if I look as if I'm about to cry during this video, it might be because I'm overwhelmed with Once Upon a Time feels, or it may be because there is a flake of something in my eye. Hopefully the former, but we'll see. So all in all, I loved this episode. We got lots of Evil Queen stuff, which I have been looking forward to since the end of season 5. Since the big reveal at the end of season 5 that Regina was splitting herself into two halves, and we were going to get to see her as Regina interact with herself as the Evil Queen. I just thought it was such an interesting concept. I was a bit worried about how it was going to leave Regina in terms of her kind of personality, but I think it's working pretty well so far. So this episode was kind of focused on the story, or the untold story, of the Count of Monte Cristo, who had met the Evil Queen back in the Enchanted Forest. He was trying to get revenge against the people who were responsible for the death of his fiancée, and he seemed to be very determined and very proficient in getting his revenge. Therefore, naturally, the Evil Queen saw him as someone that she could pounce on and use to get some revenge of her own. Having failed to kill Snow White by herself, she gets into with the Count of Monte Cristo to get him to exact her revenge for her and kill Snow White and Charming in exchange for a list of names of everyone involved in the death of his fiancée. I liked this storyline. I thought it was good. I liked the introduction of the Count of Monte Cristo. I really enjoyed the first scene that he appeared in when they were in Granny's, and he appeared and Henry started to have a conversation with him, and then he disappeared. I thought that that was really good. I'm kind of sad with how it ended up, but I will get to that after. But I think that it was a nice way to kind of link back. It was a nice kind of introduction to the Land of Untold Stories, but more importantly getting back to that really revenge focused Evil Queen that we knew from the past, who we've not been used to seeing as much recently because obviously Regina has, you know, really worked hard to redeem herself and become a hero, and so getting to see her actually using someone else and using their pain and their suffering as a way to try and get rid of Snow White once and for all was classic Evil Queen. The scene in the forest where Regina comes face to face with her for the first time since she thinks that she's killed her was great, and one that I was really looking forward to. Lana is doing such an amazing job. I knew that she would be brilliant, but kind of balancing this, and I think what she's doing really well is that she's managing to play the kind of tormented, suffering storybook world Regina up against the almost slightly camp, very dramatic villain of the Evil Queen at the same time. And I think that that's a really challenging thing to do, because when you're playing two different sides of the one character, to play them so differently but so effectively at the same time is just amazing. I really do feel for her, because I think what's interesting, and what I suppose I should have probably seen coming more quickly than I did, was this idea that the Evil Queen doesn't want to cause problems in Storybrooke necessarily herself. She wants to make Regina cause problems in Storybrooke. So she wants to take this kind of redeemed Regina and turn her back into the sort of Evil Queen, even though they're two separate people now. So I think that's going to be very interesting, and I think that's going to say a lot and be a very interesting exploration of what it means to be a good person and what it means to kind of make choices about your own life. Also this idea of fate, are some people just fated to make bad decisions? And so if Regina is able to kind of fight off the Evil Queen, but I think the problem is that what the Evil Queen's wanting her to do is turn to her dark side to fight off her dark side, if that makes sense. And what does that then, where does that then leave her? So I think that this is going to be very, very interesting to watch unfold over the next few episodes. That scene at the end where she had to kill the Count of Monte Cristo to stop him killing Snow and Charming was really sad, and I just felt for her, because you feel in that moment how heartbroken she is that she's had to make this choice. And she had to do what she had to do for her family, because she and, you know, the Charmings and Emma and Killian and everyone now, they're all there for each other and they have to look out for each other. So she had to do what she had to do, but it was just such a sad way for that story to end. Moving forward from that, we didn't get a massive amount of Captain Swan stuff in this episode, which is always going to make me sad, but the bits that we did get were very cute. I really loved that scene in Granny's where they were having the conversation about her going to see Archie, and he was telling her that how impressed he was and how pleased he was that she was going back for another therapy session and to talk about her feelings some more. I think the fact that he just very matter-of-factly said, you know, being vulnerable is not your strong suit, it's not something you're used to, and is kind of encouraging her to kind of explore that sort of therapy in that way, and I think that that's just lovely. There was another moment, this is just like massive Captain Swan shipper nonsense, but there was a moment just at the beginning of the episode when Regina was talking about being the mayor and welcoming everyone to Storybrooke, and talking about how everyone's there for each other and everyone's got new chances for happy endings and whatever, and there was just this little look between them and he put his arm around her, and I thought that was very cute. Honestly, they could like stand next to each other at the side of a road in the rain and I'd still be like, oh, it's the cutest thing ever. I do love them a ridiculous amount. Moving on from that, but sticking with these characters, I loved the Killian and Belle stuff. I'm so pleased that we got that scene and that conversation about him wanting to make amends with her and wanting to try and put things right with her and help her, to prove to her that he has changed and prove to her that he is a better man than Captain Hook. I thought that was lovely. I love that he was letting her stay in the Jolly Roger. That's, you know, his pride and joy, and it's been his home for such a long time. So the fact that he volunteered that as a place for her to stay when Belle had nowhere else to go, I thought was lovely. I really liked the fact that she acknowledged the fact that that would probably make Rumpel really angry, and the fact that Killian was willing to do that just to help her, I thought was really nice. I think what's also nice about this is I feel like if their friendship kind of grows a little bit and she spends a little bit more time with him, she spent some time with him last season, but spends a little bit more time with him this season and potentially spends some more time with Regina, I feel like that will give Belle even clearer a view of what it means for someone to change and redeem themselves and become a better person, and kind of seeing how hard Killian is working and how disappointed he is in his past and how angry he is with some of the choices that he made in the past, and how desperately he wants to make it up to everyone that he hurt in the past so that he can learn to forgive himself and move on. Seeing how important that is to him, and then watching Regina fighting so desperately to defeat that evil part of herself. I feel like if Belle's witnessing these people so desperately trying to change for the people that they love, I feel like it's going to just highlight to her even more how bad the decisions that Rumpel's been making lately are, and how she, at the moment anyway, is definitely making the right choice in steering clear of him. Speaking of Rumpel, the Rumpelstiltskin Evil Queen sexy stuff, no, I don't feel particularly comfortable with this. The first scene, which was in the Enchanted Forest, where he was kind of like leaning in at her neck, I was a little bit like, okay, what's happening here? That's a little bit strange. But it wasn't until they were in like Mr. Gold's shop and she was like all up in his face, I was a bit like, no, I don't want to witness this. And then on the other hand, in this really weird twisted sort of way, I kind of do, because I think Lana and Robert just like play off each other so well, and any scenes with them are brilliant and fiery and exciting to watch, but I don't want them to be that context of scene, if at all possible. However, I do think that if he goes there, if anything happens with him and the Evil Queen now at this point in time, regardless of the past, that's definitely got to be the final nail in the coffin for his relationship with Belle. I mean, you could see him he makes bad choices all the time, but you could see him seeing her staying in the Jolly Roger and being friends with like Killian and Emma and all that, and watching that unfold and kind of just being so horrified that I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens there, but I'm kind of just like hoping that that is all we're going to see of the potential romance in that department. I loved the kind of foregrounding of Snow and Charming again in this episode. I like that they got to do more. Again, they got more to do in 601, more to do in this episode, so I feel like they're really coming back and as a sort of force to be reckoned with. particularly seeing the flashbacks to them in the past again. So when the Count of Monte Cristo was working with them in the past, or working for them, but also working for Regina kind of thing, seeing them there in that context, and then seeing them again in Storybook, and being in that sort of confident place where they feel like they can take on the world again. That was kind of a shame when they were very confidently like fighting against the Count in that end scene, and then he just knocked them out. That wasn't ideal, but I do definitely like seeing them being more of a central focus again. That final scene where David has got the letter from the Evil Queen with the little button thing, what was it, like a little coin? And it's, you know, a reminder of him losing his dad. That conversation with the Evil Queen at the time didn't really ring all that many alarm bells for me. So obviously at the time I was like, oh, there we go, there's more to it, there's more to his father's death. But I've got this like horrible feeling, and I don't know if this is going to be right, and I really hope that it's not, but I just have this horrible feeling that Killian, or like Captain Hook, is somehow going to be involved in his father's death. Now that might be completely off base, but the reason that I have put, maybe I've put 2 and 2 together and come up with 5, but I feel like there was a lot of chat at Comic Con. If you watched the panel and if you watched the roundtable interviews with Colin and Josh, there was a lot of talk about how their characters are going to spend more time together this season, and that sort of bromance everyone's talking about. Oh, like, it's so cute, we want them to spend more time together. And they said that they were, but that it wasn't necessarily going to be good, and that there was going to be something from Hook's past, a secret from Hook's past that comes out that one other character has a very hard time moving past. And then there's like indications at Comic Con that the person who finds it difficult to move past it is Charming. And just, it was like half an hour after I watched the episode last night, I was like, wait, what if that's it? What if somehow he, like, because the Evil Queen's basically said, oh, what if his death wasn't an accident? What if Cook? Yeah, I'm so excited, I'm just going to make up new names for the characters. What if Captain Hook was involved in Charming's father's death? I don't know how. They basically said, what if it wasn't an accident? So I don't know how exactly he could be involved in this, but I really hope that that's not the case. In terms of Emma, this episode, I really loved the scenes with her and Archie. I love that Archie's back. I think Archie's very sweet. Sorry, I have a cup of tea, which I've not had any of, so I'm just going to have a drink of it right now. Yeah, I really enjoyed the scenes with Archie, and I like that Emma is starting to kind of explore these issues. I think what's happening at the moment is she's just totally fixated on these visions and fixated on finding a way to defeat whoever or whatever it is that is going to kill her. We will move on to that in a moment. But I hope that the more time that she spends with Archie, the more she starts to kind of open up about other issues that she's got. I just want her to have like really good therapy and feel a little better about her life. So that's kind of how I'm hoping that's going to play out. I hope that the more time she spends with Archie, the more she starts to kind of find herself opening up to him, and in turn, by kind of opening up to him, finds herself more willing to kind of open up more to Killian and to her family and whatever. So that's kind of my hope for the moment. I like that she's just been like straight up honest with him about the visions as well. I wondered if she was going to skirt around it. I felt like she was going to skirt around it and say, oh, I've just been having some bad dreams or whatever. I like that she's just been like totally upfront about it. I think that's good, and I liked the first scene. I liked the fact that she got kind of frustrated with it and walked out initially, because I feel like that's quite true to character. But I do like that she went back towards the end of the episode and admitted what her big fear at the moment is. The fact that her big fear is that Regina and or the Evil Queen is the person under the hood. I have seen people complain about this on social media and say like, oh, what does that tell you about her friendship with Regina? It's totally not a believable friendship if she could ever think that Regina would do that. But I think what we've got to remember here is that, yeah, okay, Regina has like split herself into these two different people, but for a very long time their relationship was very contentious, and Emma has been let down by people very close to her who she has learnt to trust plenty times before in her life. Neil, I think, is a prime example of someone who she let into her life, who she learned to love and rely on, and then when she really felt like she could trust them, they broke that trust. So just because she has a fear that Regina could potentially be the person who kills her doesn't mean that she doesn't love her as a friend, and doesn't mean that she doesn't have respect for her as a person. It just highlights the fact that obviously Regina's life is extremely complicated. They live in a magical land where anything really can happen, But also the fact that Emma still has all these walls up and she still has these doubts and these fears and insecurities about the people close to her. And that's just a natural part of her process of kind of growing and starting to learn to fully trust people. She's still not there yet. So the fact that she says that she's worried that it could be Regina doesn't mean that her automatic instinct is, oh, Regina's probably going to kill me. But she's put two and two together. Regina wasn't there with her family in the vision. She was the only person close to Emma who wasn't in that group. Her parents were both there, Henry was there, and Killian was there. The fact that Regina wasn't there, that she can't see the face of this person, and the fact that the evil queen has just come into town and is threatening to destroy everyone's happiness via Regina, as like that's what she's going to use. She's going to use Regina to destroy everyone's happiness to in turn destroy Regina. It's kind of a natural conclusion to jump to. So I'm not judging her for that. I kind of get where she's coming from there, and I don't think that it's any sort of sign of like huge disrespect to Regina. I think that it's kind of just par for the course in terms of everything that they've been through so far. I liked the Evil Queen and Zelena scenes. I think that they were good. I like that we're getting to explore this relationship of like Zelena and Regina via the kind of evil parts of them, because I think that it was really interesting in the first episode how Zelena was really upset about the fact that Regina had removed like the side of her that was most like her, as she said. I'm doing that in inverted commas to like actually mean like I'm quoting what she said rather than I'm not being sarcastic. But yeah, I think that it's interesting that that's how they've chosen to kind of explore that relationship, rather than having Zelena kind of with Regina desperately trying to kind of get her approval. I think it's the fact that she just feels like Regina is constantly not trusting her, and because of that she's been drawn to this like dark version of her. So yeah, I think that's working so far. One last thing before I go, because I've talked enough, but I really enjoyed the scene towards the end of the episode in Granny's where you had Emma, Snow and Regina sitting at the table and talking about like Regina's fears and what she was worried about and how they were going to try and defeat the evil queen, and Emma saying like, we're here to help you. What we need you to do right now, as bizarre as it is think like the evil queen and we'll all work together to stop her. So you had them kind of over in one corner, and then you had Killian and Charming and Henry over at the counter, and you had them having that conversation about films, and Killian just being like completely clueless. He didn't know what any of these films were. And Henry saying we really need to have a movie night. Like, that's what I need in my life. I need like little like webisodes. That's what they should do. They should make little webisodes, because there's not enough time in normal episodes to do like the cute in between moments. So we should get like webisodes of like movie night with Captain Swan. Or probably like the whole family, because we want Henry to be there. That would be really cute. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because I could talk all day, but that is how I felt about the episode. I thought it was great. Let me know in the comments down below how you felt about it. What are you looking forward to next week? I've seen the promo. We are getting Cinderella stuff next week, which I'm looking forward to. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to let me know, and if you want to see more from me, remember to hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you're all well, and I will speak to you soon. Bye!